Hello guys, this is a review of the movie Ben X. Ben X is a film that touches deep in my heart. I'm having a lot of difficulty getting the words out. I've already done the intro like 3, 4, 5 times and I can't get it right, but I know that as time goes on I'll just ease into it. I hope it just makes me really upset, the subject matter and all. Ben X follows the story of Ben. I believe his name is actually longer. Ben is just the nickname, and Ben X is the avatar name that he uses for this online game. Anyway, he's a teenager attending high school. He has been diagnosed with Asperger's, which, if I'm not mistaken, nowadays is just part of ASD, the autism spectrum disorder. It's no longer a diagnosis on its own, if I'm not mistaken. I actually worked with children who were diagnosed with autism for a while, so that's why it's kind of more personal. But let's get started with the plot. He is constantly bullied, especially by two guys named, I think, Voogdt and Desmet. They call him like the man from Mars, like the Martian, and they say that he's their best friend, which is something that Ben cannot really comprehend, because one of the things that people diagnosed with autism have or might have is the lack how can I put this? They lack the skill, or they haven't developed the tools to understand sarcasm, and they might interpret everything literally. So that's what Ben does. They say a lot of things that he just doesn't really understand, like, oh, you're gonna get it now. He's like, what am I gonna get? Which is it's very interesting to see his character, but very upsetting to see how they treat him throughout the movie. This film was put together in like a documentary style, but not in the sense that they're following him with the camera and we feel like the cameramen are following him. It's more of a straightforward movie, but with documentary style elements added to it. For example, they have their mother speaking in the background about everything that happened in his life. They also have his father, a few teachers, and a friend, we could say. And that's kind of the way that this film plays out. I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting distracted, and like I said, I'm having a lot of difficulty putting this together. But anyway, Ben is a master in this online game. Kind of reminds me a lot of Suicide Room. I actually got this recommendation to review this film because somebody saw the DVD in the background of Suicide Room review. And I had already planned on doing this review, of course, and I just kind of accelerated it a bit. Yeah, like I said, he's a pro. He's like level 80, which he doesn't really understand what it is. It just means that he's a good player. And his healer is Scarlett, whom he has never met in real life, but chats with constantly, calls her his princess or stuff like that. Is very sweet. He goes to school, and we see, like I said, all the torment that he has to go through. And on one specific occasion, they actually carry him up on a desk, pull his pants down, and record him and call him loser and call him very offensive terms. But he doesn't have yet the ability to communicate with others the way that neurotypical people generally do. So when they ask him, who did this to you, what did they do, he just doesn't answer. He has trouble making eye contact with people and expressing himself, even though he is a very good student, much more academically intelligent and capable than the others. They take him to his mom takes him to the doctor because the principal suggests that maybe it's not best for him to stay there. Like, it depends on what the doctor says, and the doctor says, well, if he's doing great academically, then why deprive him of the opportunity to believe that, even for himself, that he could be like the other people? And the mom says, well, because he's being bullied to death, that's why. But they still let him go back. His mother reminds him, we're not going to let them get to us. Remember, don't take it too hard. He's like, she tells him to repeat what she said. You get it, Ben? He's like, yeah. Don't take it too hard. He's like, yeah, don't take hard. She's like, no, you could take hard. Just don't take it too hard. The video goes viral. It's one of the most watched videos, which really affects him. He doesn't know how to express this thing that he has, but it clearly upsets him. He receives a video message from Scarlight because she's been noticing that he's, kind of been absent, that he might be having trouble in real life. So she tells him, because he talks about endgame, like, I want to do endgame, which is like kind of like, I believe, like game over, like just end it all. And she tells him, I'm here for you. What I tell you in the game, it's true in real life as well, so you could count on me. Tomorrow I'm going to be on a train on 10 or 11:22 to where you live, so if you want to meet up, I'm going to be right there. I know that you've never missed an appointment, so I'm counting on you to be there. And that's when, like, the worst of the bullying that he has to endure happens. It's when they hold him back, these two guys that I mentioned before, these two bullies. They hold him back. They don't let him get on his bus. Then they push him into this park area, sit him on a bench. They see the video that Scarlight recorded for him, and they're like, oh, we're gonna go meet her, like, she's cute, whatever. And he tries to defend himself with this cross that he was making, and I believe his I don't know what course that is, I'm sorry, carpentry. And they take it away from him. They hit him, they push him to the ground, and they make him, by the way, obviously, because of everything that I've been saying, this film deals with very delicate subjects, so viewers' discretion is advised. Goes without saying. They give him a drug. What did I think? Is it heroin? I think it's heroin. I'm not sure, honestly. And then they leave him there. His mother goes out to find him with his little brother. And when they get to him, he's like, I'm healed. I changed, Mom. Like, do you remember the time when they say that I don't have the ability to understand emotion or to feel emotion, but they're wrong, because remember that time you were crying that I tried to put your tears back into your eyes? That's because I knew that you were sad and I didn't want you to be sad. And she just cries, hugs him, and takes him back home. Then he wakes up, and because he becomes very verbal, very expressive, too much, obviously, so that's like hallucinating, but he's still a lot more able to communicate with that drug. Then he wakes up and he's like, okay, my eyes are open, but my head is shut again after the effect of the drug. He goes to the mirror. He destroys his computer in front of his mom. Then, because his mom tells him, hey, you need to tell me what happened, who did this to you, and he doesn't know how to react to that. So he destroys his computer and like all the surroundings, and he goes in front of the mirror. He's I think drinking a glass of water, maybe brushing his teeth. Then he punches the reflection on the mirror. He doesn't understand like how you could easily end your life in a game, but you don't have the answers to do it in real life. One of the things that his father mentions in the documentary style interview is that he asked them once, how many reasons do you need to commit suicide, like for you to end your life? Like, and he's like, what do you mean? He's like, do you need 1, 3, 10? How many reasons? Because he wanted to know if he had enough reasons to commit suicide, which is obviously horrendous for somebody to think. After that, he remembers that Scarlight had sent him that video, so he goes against every fiber in his bones and his being, trying to hold him back and not let him go out. He goes out, he searches for her in the train station, and he sees her, but he doesn't speak to her. And he mentions something very interesting. Well, my mouth is not able to do, my feet are. So he follows her into the train on her way back, and he doesn't say a word. He just imagines a million possibilities, and when it comes to a stop, he gets out without saying a word again. He contemplates just throwing himself on the rails and letting a train run over him. But that's when Scarlight stops him. She tells him that this isn't the way, that there are other ways of doing this, and that if he thinks that it's going to be an easy, painless death, it's not going to be like that. And they devise a plan. She's like, think of this as a game, with the only difference that if you do this in real life, you can't come back. It's like game over forever. So they come up with a plan to basically help him, I'm sorry about the noises, help him commit suicide. And he speaks to his mom and his dad's girlfriend, and they all help him come up with a very elaborate plan for this suicide. They end up going on a boat, and he throws himself off the rails. And then they're seeing everybody, the classmates, the faculty members, family members, are seen in church where they're going over this tragedy. They're speaking about it, because at the beginning of the film, something that his mother mentions is that one person has to die in order for people to pay attention. Like, it's always been that way, and it always will be. People are not sensitive, people are not careful until somebody kills themselves, until somebody murders somebody. That's when everybody comes up, and it's just so real. But then, in the middle of this presentation in his honor, they show a video of Ben explaining what happened. He says, you know, people say that when you're about to die, your whole life flashes before your eyes, and here's a little bit of what I saw. And they play the video of him being bullied. By the way, there's this classmate that actually likes him and respects him, and he's the one that provided him with the video so that he could show his parents, but he didn't. We already know that. Anyway, they play the video, and everybody's in shock, looking back at the guys that actually did it, because the guys that bullied him to death were actually sitting there as if nothing ever happened. And that's when they realize, you know what, it's terrible that we allow this. And the teachers and everybody, they know what's wrong, but they say, like, we can't, you know, hold them by the hand and protect them every single time at every single moment. And it's true, it's a really hard subject, but I know that there's a lot more that people could be doing. Anyway, that's when Scarlight's like, hey, it's your turn. He gets up, and obviously the projector is all the way at the top, and he's there with Scarlight. He gets up, and everybody notices that he's alive. So they had to do this. They had to fake his death in order for people to actually learn and take it seriously. Then the film ends with Ben, his mother, his brother, and a horse trainer in a ranch. So, and he's learning how to deal with horses, and he seems to be very happy. He even says it himself. It's like, I've never been like this before. Then he's sitting down talking to Scarlight. He's like, why do people every time they see a horse, they're like, can I get on it? Well, like, what if horses were to think the same thing? They saw us, and he's just laughing, and the trainer's looking at him very confused, because he's talking to himself, and that's how the film ends. I'm so glad I got this over with. Usually I rewatch a movie once to freshen up, because imagine I have a whole bunch of movies I do not remember certain details, and I had to rewatch this twice. I only wanted to watch it once because it's just such a hard movie to watch, and if I don't have somebody else to watch it with, then I feel like I'm absorbing all of the negative energy for myself. I didn't like the ending, actually. I feel like a lot of people do like it, but I don't, because it kind of tells you that because of everything that he went through, of all the bullying from these people, he developed another disorder, because he didn't hallucinate before. And up to what point was Scarlight real? I'm wondering. I believe the last moment that he actually saw her was when he got off the train and she stayed in there, because the train went on. There's no way that she could have gotten out and then helped them. That's obviously that, and she obviously never followed him. They leave clues like that, like little clues, as the movie plays out, because when they're eating, they only have like one cup for him, or when there's 3 people, only for 3 people and not for Scarlight, even though she's a 4th person. Little clues like that. I did not like that, because I'm not like, I wasn't the character's doctor, so I don't really know what exactly he was diagnosed with, but as far as I'm concerned, he didn't have that. So I feel like it just really was unfair. And at the same time, of course, it's nice. Like they mentioned, it's not his problem. He doesn't have a problem with it. Everybody else has a problem with it. But he's well, because that's his reality. That's all he knows. So on that note, I guess, yeah, sure, it's awesome that he's happy, that he's well, that he's far from those types of mistreatments, I should say. But I feel like it could have been a lot better for him if he actually spoke to Scarlight and they actually helped him through it, because you could do that. And I'm sure that Scarlight would have been able to communicate with him, maybe via text. And I know that he lost his phone, I forgot to mention that, but he didn't lose it, they stole it from him. But I feel like it could have been a lot better. And it's just very disheartening for me to see these type of things, because sometimes we see these movies and we're like, that doesn't happen in real life. And I used to be the type of person that, like, since nobody stuck my head down the toilet, then I received little to no bullying. But that's just false. They don't have to like shove your head down the toilet for you to be bullied. Honestly, there's so much aggression and hostility, which is basically the definition of bullying. It's like taking advantage of somebody and that's at a disadvantage. Oh my gosh, I hope I didn't go over 30 minutes. I don't want the video to cut off. But yeah, it's really unfair. It does happen. And you think that maybe just grade school. No, it's not just grade school, because adults do it all the time. Especially now that we live in the cyber world, I know that they're probably trying to bring awareness to like every advancing technology and to be careful with it. Yes, be careful with it, but at the end of the day, the robots and everything, they don't control themselves. Oh, at least to my understanding, it's us, it's the people. We've darkened our hearts. We do not open ourselves to positivity and to help others. If there's something that I want people to take away from my life, if I were to die today or tomorrow or in a week or whatever, and they say, well, what did you learn from Alberto Grimaldo? Well, I hope that you learn just to be nice to other people. I'm not saying that you're never going to make a mistake. I'm not saying that I never bullied anybody, because I'm sure that I made comments back in middle school that offended other people and that I got a kick from it. You know, like I'm like, wow, I made that person feel bad. Ha ha ha. But it's something that really doesn't make me proud at all. It's not something nice. Even when I'm at a severe disagreement with people where I know that I have words that could offend, that could hurt somebody, I rather walk away. I always tell people close to me, I'm like, I rather, if I could run away, walk away, turn the other way, I do it. Unless I'm being surrounded by a group of people, if I'm in a situation where I feel like I can't get out, well then I have to protect myself, then I do it as a last resort. But I try to never do it. And like I said, no one's a saint. No one's Jesus. Like, we're not perfect. That's the whole point of this. But I do think that if you look in your heart, if you even think, if you use your brain a small percentage of it, then you're gonna realize, say, what do I get from hurting this person? Or what, like, if this person, like, especially, and we're not even talking, because at the heat of the moment, sometimes we lose our good judgments. I understand that, but then that's why you apologize, you open yourself, and you are vulnerable, yes, but I'm sure that reconciliation and whatever, it's a lot better than just to remain hated, or to keep that hate feeling with you forever. The thing that I really just don't understand is when people are not picking on you, when there's absolutely zero reasons for you to retaliate, for you to get revenge, when there's no reason for you to do it, and you just go after that person. Like I said, if I were to die today or tomorrow or whatever, just remember that. If you could, you don't have to step in, because sometimes you're in a very, like, let's say you're a girl and there's just like guys harassing another guy, you don't want to get involved because they might beat you up. Okay, but if you could provide this emotional blanket for that person, maybe when the other people are not around, let them know, help them to phone numbers, people that are trained in the subject or whatever, then do it. Or at least at the bare minimum, just don't be a part of it. It's not cool, it's not nice, it's not fun, it doesn't feed anything in this world. We are all one, we are all made up of the same cells. We cannot be attacking our brothers and sisters. There's just no point, no reason. But yeah, I think it's gonna go over. I hope it doesn't go over. I'm just gonna end it now because I don't want it to go over. The film itself, it's great. It's very, very good acting. It's, I think, Belgian, Dutch. So to people from the Netherlands, hello. People from Belgium, hello. This is an amazing film. Very, very interesting, beautiful language. I loved it. I mean, I enjoyed it, but at the same time I suffered. But I know that I rather have representation in film, so that more people could be aware of it, so that more people know of the harm that it causes, and just bring attention to it, whatever. The director, Nic Balthazar, actually wrote a beautiful statement inside that I wanted to read, but I don't think I have time, where he basically said that he got the inspiration from the death of another kid diagnosed with autism who committed suicide because of the bullying. So it comes from a very good place. It serves a purpose. It was well written, well acted, well directed, everything fantastic. It could have done with a better ending, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. I would give the film a 9 out of 10 in its category. And yeah, I would encourage anybody to give it a go if you haven't watched it. If you have, let me know what you think. Thank you for watching.